Hi, everybody. For your final project on systems of equations and systems of inequalities, you're going to be writing a computer program that will have interactive areas on the screen. And when you click on those interactive areas, different things will happen. I'll show you an example of what I mean. Khan Academy has a computer programming environment in JavaScript. And so this is an example of a computer program that I wrote just as a sample. The background is plain white, and then there's two clickable areas. There's the red rectangle, and then there's the white triangle, and they both say click me. When I click on the red rectangle, I get a message saying, no, you fool. And if I click on the white triangle, I get a message saying you made the correct choice. Notice if I click anywhere else on the screen, I get nothing. So only these two regions are clickable. This is done by using logic statements that include the same kind of logic as a system of inequalities. So we're going to start, the first assignment is just to make a computer program that has the regions on it that are drawn. They don't need to be clickable at first. And then the second part of the assignment is to make them clickable and make different things happen when you click on them. And I'll teach you how to do this using JavaScript. So first of all, there's a resource that you may want to print. On Google Classroom, I've put a link to this graph paper. And if you click on the YouTube video, there's also a link to this graph paper. You can use this to plan out where your clickable regions will be. And so I suggest you print it out ahead of time or just have some interactive whiteboard program so you can plan. The next thing we'll want to do is open the Khan Academy programming environment. So if you go to Khan Academy and you're logged in, make sure you see your name in the corner that shows you're logged in. Okay, go to the courses menu now that you're logged into Khan Academy. And then you're going to look for the item that says computer programming. It's underneath computing. Okay, in computer programming, you scroll down the page a little bit and you'll see create a new program, and you want to create a new JavaScript program. Click on there. Okay, and then you get the option to make a new program. You'll do edit title, and we're going to call this sorry, the screen tends to go away very quickly. It's fussy. We'll call this drawing, just because it's our first drawing program. For future reference, when you want to access this program in the future, once you've created one for the first time, so you can click Save to save a new program, and this is a trivial program. There's nothing in it. But you'll get to it in the future by going to your profile. So you'll re-click on Khan Academy. You'll go to your profile, which is right down here in the side, see profile. And then you'll click on Projects, View All. And you'll see all of the projects that you've made in this area. So this is the one I just created called Drawing. Once you've made a project, you also have another option for making a new program. And inside the project, there's a button down here that says New Program. So as soon as you've made your first one, you don't need to access this through courses anymore. You can just go to an existing program and click on New Program. So this is a JavaScript environment. Now I want to draw attention to the two regions of the screen. This one on the left that has the number 1 in the corner, that's where you write the program. And on the right, that's the execution window. The program has this cool feature where it runs repeatedly and you'll always see the output in the execution window. It checks for errors in real time, so it's a great little computer programming environment. I'll just start by introducing you to how it does color. So for example, you can draw a background by using the command background. You have to spell it correctly. Spelling, capitalization, and punctuation are all very carefully checked. And then when you hit a parentheses, that open parentheses, you'll get 3 numbers here. Now those 3 numbers correspond with the colors of the pixels on the right-hand side. The first number is how much red is in the color. The second number is how much green is in the color. And the third number is how much blue is in the color. You see red, green, and blue are the primary colors in computer screens, and you can mix those primary colors to make any color that you want. You can type in numbers manually, so like let's say we want 255 red, and then we also want 100 blue. You get this kind of shade of purplish pink. You can also use the color picker, and the color picker will let you mix and match to pick any color that you want, and it automatically populates the numbers. So it's pretty cool. So background is one command that you can use. The other commands that you can use to set color are stroke and fill. So stroke is the color that you use for outlining. If I do 0, 0, 0, that means no colors are turned on, and so it's black. And then fill is the color that you'll use to fill things in. It's also the color of text. And I'll make this one kind of a dark purple. There we go. So stroke and fill. Background, stroke, and fill are your three coloring commands. So next you're probably wondering, how do you draw? Well, that's where this graph paper kind of comes in handy. So the graph paper shows the coordinate plane that you use in Khan Academy. If you look at the graph paper that's in front of you, you'll notice that 0, 0 is in an odd spot. It's in the upper left corner. And then as you go over to the right, that's the x-axis. And as you go down the side, that's the y-axis. So for example, the coordinates 50, 50 would start here at 0, 0 in the upper left and go 50 over and 50 down, and you'd start drawing there. The coordinates 200, 300 would go 200 over, 300 down, and start drawing there. Your screen in Khan Academy is 400 by 400, so it's a fairly small screen, but you can do some cool things in it. So one of the first commands I will teach you is how to draw a rectangle. Rectangles are drawn with the command rect, R-E-C-T, and then when you do an open parentheses, it gives you some tips for what the parameters are. So the x and the y are the x and y coordinates of the upper left corner. Let's say, for example, I'm going to grab a whiteboard marker and draw an outline of what I want my rectangle to look like. Let's say, for example, I want my rectangle to start at 100, 50, and I'm going to have it be a rectangle that looks like this on the screen. So the x and y coordinates for the upper left corner are 100, 50. And as you can see, it's 100 pixels wide because it goes from 100 to 200, and it's 50 pixels tall. So those are the four pieces of information we need. The x-coordinate, which is 100, the y-coordinate, which is 50, the width, which is 100, and then the height, which again is 50. So I'm going to type in those four pieces of information. Let me turn off the drawing tools. Okay, so rectangle, starting at 100, 50, and then 100 wide, 50 tall. You have to end every statement with a semicolon, that little punctuation mark there. And now you can see it's used the stroke color as the outline and the fill color to fill in the rectangle. Okay? We can draw another rectangle. Maybe I'll put this one closer to the center of the screen. So I'll go over to my graph paper so I can plan it. Maybe this one will be at 150 on the X and 200 on the Y. And I'm going to make it like a tall, skinny rectangle, like so. Okay, sorry, that's not very good straight lines, but you can kind of see the idea. So it starts at 150 on the X, 200 on the Y. The width will be 50 because it goes from 150 to 200, and the height will be 150. So we want to start at 150, 200, 50 by 150. Let's do that. So another rectangle, 150, 200, 50 wide, 150 tall. End with the semicolon, and it draws that tall, skinny rectangle. So that's how you draw rectangles. You can also just draw straight lines, and to draw straight lines, you just give it four numbers: the x and y coordinate of the beginning of the line, and the x and y coordinate of the end of the line. So I'll go over to the graph paper and show what that looks like. So for example, if we want to draw a straight line from here to here, okay, the beginning of the line is at 50, 350. The end of the line is at 150, 300. So those are the four numbers I would put in the line command. Going back over here, I would say line. So, oh gosh, now I forget what I typed in. 50, 350, 150, 300. Not sure if that's exactly what I typed in before, but that's where it drew the line. One other thing to take notice of is that all of these items are drawn in the order of the commands you put them. So if I make this line, say, extend into that rectangle over there, let's see, I'm going to make the x coordinate be a little further over. Oh, no, 200. Okay, see how it drew the line on top of the rectangle? Because the line command was after the rectangle, so it drew the rectangle first and then the line. But if I reverse the order of these commands, okay, so I cut that command and I pasted it after the line, now it drew the rectangle on top of the line, and so the line is hidden behind it. So it'll draw the things in the order that you specify them. It also is worth mentioning the background should be drawn first, because if you draw the background last, look what happens. It draws the background over top of everything else on the screen, and then you can't see any of your other drawings. So always make sure the background is the first command in your program. I'll show you how to draw one other kind of shape, and that's the triangle. For a triangle, see how it has 6 parameters? These are the 3 XY coordinates for 3 points on the triangle, and then the command will connect all of those 3 points and fill it with your fill color. So if we draw a triangle starting, let's say at 200, 350, and then we put another point at 200, 200, and then we put a third point at 400, 400, then it draws a triangle that connects those 3 points. 200, 350 is right there, 200, 200 is right there, and 400, 400 is down there. Okay, so your first assignment, oh, the other thing, I keep thinking of more things to tell you. One more thing is that you can change the fill color as you go. So I can make this like a little different and fancier, right? Anytime you put in a fill command, everything after that fill command will have that same fill color. So my first fill was that purplish color, and it drew the rectangle, the line, and the rectangle with that fill color. And then my next fill was that bluish, and it drew the last triangle with that bluish color. So anything after you set a color like background, stroke, or fill, the other commands after that are affected by those colors. Your first assignment is to make a couple of clickable areas on a screen anywhere that you want. So you might, I made too many, this is kind of messy, but maybe you just want to make 2 rectangles, or maybe you want to make a rectangle and a triangle, or 2 triangles, or something like that. Make them be any color that you want, and then you're going to save this program and you're going to turn it in. To save your program, click the Save button. Okay, and then once you've saved it, the link at the top, you can't see it because it's off of my screen here, but the hyperlink at the top is how you turn your program in. So you can copy that, and then like you can see I paste it right there. That's the link to my program. Paste that into Google Classroom to turn it in, and that's the first part of the assignment. In the next video, I'll teach you how to make these areas clickable so that you can make things happen when you click on them. And we'll do that using what kind of amounts to a system of inequalities. So it should be fun.